interesting people calling from Staten Island and Boston and Scripps Research, and just finished with Dr. Gonzalez. But we are now going to give something to you that is phenomenal. I wish that this were television, but since it's not, we'll just deal with what we have. So here we have BradSchoengood and Dr. Ron Rubin. And it's the Boca Medical Spa and the co-creators of the Time Machine program. And I have to tell you, I don't think I'm inventing this, but I have less crow's feet with just one treatment. I mean, I do. So, Brad, you're responsible. Why don't you talk to people about what you have figured out? What actually is the Time Machine?
Well, the Time Machine is very unique because there's no downtime after the laser treatment. 6 treatments will get you the full results. There's no downtime. We're not zapping the skin. We're not using the Fraxel machine. It's a non-invasive procedure, and it will bring years back to your youth. Well,
I have seen, of course, some of the pictures, but he did me. I wasn't prepared for this. I was just meeting him. He said, "Well, just sit in the chair." And all of a sudden, he put some little glasses on me, and he's doing something. My face is feeling a little warm, a little tingly, nothing else. And of course, I know what I had before. I mean, I've been ignoring it, but I definitely have seen less, and that's just one treatment. So, I don't know. This is a very exciting venture that you and Dr. Rubin. So let's get over to Dr. Ronald Rubin. You've been here in Boca for a long time, Dr. Rubin.
Just over 35 years.
Well, and of course, this is not your field. Why don't you explain what your specialty is?
My specialty field is oral and maxillofacial surgery. I did my training up at Boston and Tufts University.
And when for people who don't really understand what that means, why would I come to you? Besides because you're cute.
Thank you. Taking care of afflictions and problems such as impacted wisdom teeth that are really going bad, reconstruction of the jaw bones, dental implantology, cysts and tumors, and pathology.
All right, so it's pretty serious stuff. And then how did you happen to meet Brad? I mean, and you must have been interested in this because you really do care. He and I really bonded because we're both into energy medicine and things like that. And what happened and how did you meet Brad?
I believe people put together at times when you really need each other, and we've known each other for a little bit. He's been developing some pain management procedures and so forth, but he's developed now some energy medicine for facial enhancement. And when Bradley told me about this, I jumped right on it because it was something I was looking for. I did not want to, I have so many patients back and forth, and they ask me about Botox and facelifts, and I just say, I do not want to get into anything that's going to be poison to the body or cutting. I just need to look for something natural. The whole world is looking for things that are natural now. It was a perfect fit when Brad discussed with me his technique, how it works. For me, it was pure energy medicine that enhances the face, gives people what they're looking for without the pain, without the suffering, without needles, without the pain, pain again, without bleeding, and most importantly for us, without any downtime. They literally can come to see us, even at lunchtime, go back to work, no sign of anything being done except people look at them and go, what happened over lunch?
Well, maybe I know you're not really a scientist in a sense, but you are, Bradley. I mean, you have invented something. I mean, this must be very exciting for you.
Well, yeah, based on my experience working with, for other laser companies, the biggest laser, companies in the world, I was a distributor. I sold their technology. And I went out and I would train doctors how to use the technology. So I really had that one-on-one experience with each technology out there. So one day I was like, it's very hard to keep selling these technologies, these laser technologies. Like we were saying before, God puts everything in front of you. I have a manufacturing plant in France, and we were able to make the best technology out there, laser. The pinpoint accuracy that you're able to get specific areas, especially under the eyes, between the eyes, on the neck. No other laser machine out there could do that. And what's really unique is one treatment, you see 15 to 40% difference depending on your age, your case, your symptoms, your skin type, and it's the results speak for itself.
Yes, I have to just, I know everybody's saying, well, all right, well, where do I go? What is this? So let me give a phone number. If you just remember, this is Pencil Talk Radio. Get your pencils out. It's 561-368-8880. 561-368-8880. It's called the Boca Medical Spa. They're also, of course, on the web. They have a very nice website. It's bocamedicalspa.com. And if you will just go into that, you'll see. Now, the nice part about this is, I don't know very much about lasers. I mean, they've come on, and maybe Dr. Rubin even can explain. Well, you can because you've been in the business. Has it been, 20 years? I mean, lasers, that's not always been with us. Of course, I used to watch Star Wars, and we always hear about lasers, but when did lasers really come into effect? Either one of you can talk about, with medical, where it really makes such a great difference.
From my experience working with lasers, they've been around for a long time. Doctors have been using them for years, starting with CO2 lasers, IPL lasers, Fraxel lasers, and it's such a niche market growing into the medical field, especially if you go to a trade shows, all the big plastic surgery shows, the health and beauty shows. They're now coming out with new models, new designs, and it's the future in medicine. In the next couple of years, you're just going to start seeing more and more doctors using the technology.
But I guess, Dr. Rubin, of course, you've been in the medical profession. When did you start? Do you use lasers in your practice?
I have in the past. I studied with the YAG lasers way back when, probably in the 80s.
Remember that name.
And then I even had, we still do a CO2 laser machine. Used it very successfully, but I really did not like all the redness and so forth the patients had to go through. They had good results, but I was looking for something different, and I actually stopped using that. So basically, when I did meet Brad and he discussed this with me, as I mentioned before, this was the answer I've been looking for. It all came here about, and we call this pure energy medicine. For those people who do not yet know what that is, it's using the power of nature to affect the healing tissue without any side effects.
Wow, that's, everybody wants that. I mean, that's perfect about everything. So I know that, Brad, you've been involved in a lot of companies that have used the laser. You're talking about it being on the face, right now. Are you doing anything anywhere else, let's say hands? And what else would you be doing with your laser?
Well, you're able to treat many different cases with skin resurfacing. So depending on the size of the area, we can get rid of scars, smooth out the skin, resurface the skin.
That's pretty exciting.
We're able to get rid of wrinkles, skin tightening, turkey neck, wrinkles under the eyes.
Just stop a minute. Everyone has these turkey necks. Let's talk about turkey necks. When you use a laser, where does it go? Where does that fat go?
Literally, the tissue just tightens. The tissue just tightens up a bit more. And it gives that effect. For people who have a severe excess tissue down there, it's not going to do it completely, but we've noticed some good results with people, enough to make them say, wow, okay, I feel better.
Yeah, it is a big, marvelous thing. I mean, do you remember the laser lights? I mean, that's the only thing I remember. I like science fiction. And so laser was always very exciting for me. But that was, with these great lights and stuff. And I don't really even know what a laser really what it is.
Well, we use an infrared laser, we use a green laser. Each frequency gives off a different energy, a different healing energy. Like Dr. Ron says, energy medicine. So depending on the treatment that we're doing, we're going to use a specific laser for that treatment. Infrared gives off a little bit more warmth. The green laser is very healing to the skin with inflammation. So depending on the treatment modality that the technician performs, that's how they depend to use a specific laser.
And I remember when you were doing this on me, it was, you kept asking me, how do I feel? I said, oh, I feel fine. Well, it's just a little tingly, a little warm. It was very nice. It felt like someone was in back of my head just pulling my skin tight.
Well, we call that procedure the non-surgical facelift. We actually just opened up a new office in Aventura.
Okay, so now we have, of course, the one right across from the Boca Hospital, Boca Raton Regional. And that's the one I went to. It's very elegant, very beautiful. Of course, that's that's actually Dr. Rubin's office where you've been for, how long have you been there?
1977.
Amazing. When there was hardly even the hospital was just a small little hospital. Wasn't
Very
anything
small,
like that.
very
Small
small.
hospital. Why did you choose that, by the way? I mean, you lived in Boca and you just figured that was the place to be?
When I was completing my surgical residency up in Boston at Tufts, I wanted to locate to Florida. I was swinging around the entire state, driving up past Boca Raton to go to West Palm Beach to meet with a doctor, and I saw a sign with an H at the exit of Palmetto Park Road. I swung off to see what it looked like, and there was the hospital. Right across the street, there was a building that was not even completed. It's a sale medical offices. I went, thank you very much, here I am.
Wow. Well, you've made a smart choice. I mean, that parking lot is so full all the time, but it's very nice, and I really appreciate what you've been doing in your profession. But this is a whole new thing, and I'm very thrilled about this. And so the brochure says rejuvenate, restore, revive. Amazing results in just an appointment away. And is it called photonic botanical light therapy?
No, that's one of our older brochures, actually. It's called the Time Machine Program.
Yeah, the Time Machine.
And it's laser therapy. We also work with some light therapy machines, photofacials.
And so at the Boca Medical Spa, what should someone do? They would just call, make an appointment?
Well, you can go to our website, www.bocamedicalspa.com. You could book your appointment through that site, or you can call us up. Or you can go to www.thetimemachineprogram.com.
I love that name.
Book your appointment at either location. We have the one at the Boca Raton or in Aventura, Florida, in the same shopping center as the Aventura Mall.
Okay. Oh, that's good. So the Aventura Mall, and it's the shopping center where that is. So for those listeners who are, of course, listening all the way down south, you can do that. Or for those of you who are listening, up the West Palm Beach and further south. But this is a very thrilling thing for you. So do you sleep? I bet you must be so excited, Brad, that it's hard to sleep at night, thinking, what else am I going to be doing, right? This is like on the cusp of a...
It is very exciting, especially with what's going on with the technology, where we're at, the people we're dealing with. In the next couple of years, this technology will be in every doctor's office across the country and throughout the world because of the results.
So you would actually like to franchise. What do you call this? Is that what you would like?
There's a million different things that we can do with the technology. We're taking it step by step and being very selective and careful who we're dealing with, because the people that we want to operate the machine, we want them to keep the name. The technology, the lasers are called the Time Machine lasers. We're dealing with all the right organizations and getting all the approvals to get picked up by distributors, and it's all in the works.
It's kind of like almost a beta site right now, as we call it. Just you're doing it, starting so you can see what people like, what they don't like, and then I guess gear it to making it the right thing for all these other people who are going to want to do it, because you have to make sure that, as you said, they're the right people. Like Dr. Mencia was very excited, and I really think that when you go down and talk to him, he would be a perfect person, because he's kind, he's a geriatric physician, he has now these opening up other offices. Dr. Gonzalez is a vascular surgeon, and so that's what you need, people with high quality, I think, who would respect what you've done, and they have a lot of patience.
Yeah, and what's also very unique is we're already getting Hollywood stars contacting us, and very big designers and people that contact us for treatments.
Well, because it's simple.
And how come they contact us? Because our results.
Well, this is the big question. I usually don't do this on the radio, but is it expensive? Is it expensive? Yes, the treatment. Someone asked me already. I said, I don't even know.
Not at all, actually. Our treatments... You need 6 treatments to see the full results. Depending on the size of the area, for all 6 treatments, we charge about $600 to $650.
Amazing. Amazing. I mean,
One set of injections could be $2,000 that you have to go back twice a year. And Dr. Ron could talk to you more about the other prices. And
well, that's true. That's been your business. I mean, you've been you've been a, I don't know, I'm not calling you a dentist. That's not really appropriate.
Facial surgeon.
It's a facial surgeon. Right, facial surgeon. And when you think about it, you know what the costs are. And could you ever dream of having something that is painless and is inexpensive and is so quick? I mean, how it's like you love this.
Down inside, I've always been looking for something like this, as I mentioned before. And again, that's why when Brad discussed this, I gravitated to immediately. And I will tell you, you asked a good question before about what are we going, how we're growing. I've watched really carefully and with a lot of respect with Brad's expertise in redefining and defining and adjusting the time machine program with the lasers and the timing of each portion of the face and how it gives the care. And I've watched the results get better and better and better. And they're really wonderful right now. So he's perfected this already, the technique. So those individuals who we allow to take on the time machine program in their particular office, they're going to have a cookie cutter, extremely precise technique of training, so they don't have to reinvent the wheel, but they can keep to the standards that Brad has developed.
So, Brad, once you do this, let's say 6 treatments, would someone have to come back in a year, or how long do you think it'll stay?
Well, when people ask that question, people are always aging, and it's lifestyle. We have a home maintenance program that we give to the patients to take home, which is skincare products, a skincare cream that we're able to work with, a drink with antioxidants and minerals, a facial cleanser. And we recommend, always depending on the case, for them to come in once a month for a touch-up. And it's 45 minutes, and it's very relaxing. It's like getting a facial, but 10 times better. It's when you're sitting in the chair.
That's right. And so I think, and I asked you this also, are other people doing this?
Nobody has this technology.
Nobody has the technology, and of course, people are going to be advertising technology that looks like this.
Well,
so what should they look for to make sure that they are getting the very best as you have?
You go to our Facebook page, thetimemachineprogram.com, or our Facebook page, The Time Machine Program, which you can find. We're on Instagram, The Time Machine Program. We're the only people that you should go to for laser treatments.
That says it all, doesn't it? Well,
every dermatologist, every plastic surgeon in the country, they all use the same technology. That's what separates us.
Okay, I just want to let you know who my guests are. It's Brad Schoengood, who is the founder of the Time Machine program, and his partner is, Dr. Ron Rubin, who is a facial surgeon, and who is
it's called oral and maxillofacial surgery. It combines
what is the
everything.
Tell me what that comes from, that word.
Well, the oral surgery used to be the expression for what we did, just oral surgery, because we deal deep inside the face for cyst, tumors, fractures, repairs, dental implants. But the maxilla part, maxilla,
I got it.
The maxilla is actually the upper jaw. So we've added that into oral maxillofacial surgery to let people know that our field encompasses not only deep inside the face and the tissue of the jaws, but onto the face as well.
So if people have been in a terrible accident, have you had to restore faces?
For about 25 years, I was the main maxillofacial surgeon. They would call it North Broward Trauma Center. Constantly, bad things happen to people, and our training up in Boston between the Harvard, Boston City Hospital, and Tufts University. This was my extensive training to help people out.
And so you feel like you're probably an artist, a designer, aren't you, of one's mouth when somebody's really needed. I mean, some serious. I don't mean just because cosmetically, but when someone has been then deformed.
That's an astute observation. What we do is literally an art and a science. You have to know the bones, what goes where, what the tissue should look like. We know that ahead of time and recreate that. so that there's minimum scarring and nearly no deformity of the face.
I mean, you know, I haven't really gotten to talk.
That's why I love the Time Machine program, because this is just so different and enhancing for patients. And we've seen some people already. Well, Brad's been very successful with some scarring on the face, and he's been able to reduce that, in some cases get rid of the scars with the Time Machine program.
I was very curious, Brad. How does I don't know even really medically what a scar is, but we know when we see one. So how does what does a laser do to that scar, actually? I mean, what is it? I'm just looking at it very scientifically. I don't really understand it. It's not my world. I mean, you have a scar, and that's like what is a scar? Maybe Dr. Rubin, you can explain that.
It's a bond of the tissue that's been interfered with or cut open, for example, and the tissue grows back, but leaves a little very thin fibrous layer in between, which is visible. You can nearly never do anything without leaving some kind of a scar, although we're pretty good at leaving extremely thin scars. But with the Time Machine program, the energy medicine from the laser, the Time Machine lasers, it's able to resurface that area just enough to hide the scars even further. In some cases, go ahead.
It fades it away after specific treatments for healing the tissue.
So I was thinking,
right,
women who have, had, women who have had babies, and they have their scars. I mean, would you be able to take care of that? If they've.
We do all kinds of, we've worked on all kinds of scars before. Obviously, the bigger the scar is, the longer the treatments. Our machines are mobile, they're portable, and we're able to custom make the wavelengths. So the bigger the scars are, the more treatments that you're going to need. But yes, we can do that. We like to specialize from the neck up, and then specific cases working on the body as we're in development with the machines, making bigger machines that could speed up the treatment based on the size of the scar. A lot of good things in the works.
Now, this is the big one. You notice that many, many people have tattoos. And I know one day they're going to want to get rid of those tattoos. Are you going to invent a laser that's going to get rid of those tattoos? Because I don't know what they have to go through to get rid of those tattoos now.
There are lasers that can get rid of tattoos.
Really?
The old YAG lasers are still in effectiveness, and certain types of lasers are needed with certain wavelengths to dissolve different color pigments within a tattoo. So it's not a straightforward process, but it could be done.
I mean, you can see what's going on, and all of a sudden, I guess as one's aging, they're saying, what am I doing with all this all over my body?
Right. You asked a question before, what is a real laser? Laser is an acronym for light amplification with a stimulation of electron radiation.
I knew you'd know that. He's so smart.
But that's what it is.
I see, and of course, and so they just made it was a good name, right, to come up with something called laser, right?
Right.
Okay, so the thing that I'm impressed with is that both of you have joined forces. The Time Machine is a great name. We hope that you
trademarked.
Yeah, oh good. Of course it is a great name, and I hope that you will pay a visit to Dr. Mencia because he has so many patients, and he is into aesthetics anyway. He does things. I mean, he does those things with Botox and all, and what you're doing is really wonderful.
A lot of our clients have gotten Botox, have gotten facelifts, and they say to us, "There's nothing better than this."
No, I mean, I
Exactly.
have never had the facelift because I didn't want to go through any of that, even though I see things happening in my face. So if this is going to do it, whoa! We're hoping that we're going to tease them to come to the Boomer Expo so that maybe we can have some demonstrations. We're working on something like that. We'll see. But I'm just going to give the website again. It is the Boca. It's called BocaMedicalSpa.com. BocaMedicalSpa.com. And if you want to call, it's 561-368-8880. And if they call for an appointment, and how long should they plan on being there? 30 minutes?
For the first treatment, you have to come in, we have to do a consultation. So all based on the consultation where we actually do a full skin analysis, and we have saved people from skin cancer.
Oh, boy. Wonderful. Well, I'm very, very pleased that you were able to come this morning, and hopefully we're going to have you back again. And thank you, everybody, for enjoying the shows this morning. Remember, the Boomer Expo is Friday, July the 23rd. 5th, and we're looking forward to a huge crowd, and we hope you have a great weekend. And remember, we have 2 shows on Sunday. One it's on WNN, one at 7 to 7:30, and the other one at 4:30 to 5. We'll see you here next week. Bye.